Hello, I'm Coach Christian, and I help extremely stressed people to deal with their stress by observing it for themselves. Welcome to yet another video, and I publish a video every single day. And in the video, I answer a question and provide you with tools that you can use to deal with the stress in your life right now and also with any stressful situation that may arise in the future. Welcome once again, and let's now move into the meat of this video. Let's look at the question of the day. Coach Christian, whenever I meet up with my dad, it doesn't last long before we get into an argument in which I say hurtful things to him, and he says hurtful things to me. Later we make up and have a great time together, but then we resort to fighting again. Why does this happen? And how can I be free from this cycle of fighting? I'm honestly tired of fighting. Coach Christian, whenever I meet up with my dad, it doesn't last long before we get into an argument in which I say hurtful things to him and he says hurtful things to me. Later we make up and have a great time together, but then we resort to fighting again. Why does this happen? And how can I be free from this cycle of fighting? I am honestly tired of fighting. The first thing I'm going to do is question whether it's a cycle at all. Cycle means we're remaining at the same level, right? A cycle, like if you look at a circle. I studied mathematics in college, so now this is an opportunity for me to geek out. A circle, right, is always found in a plane at the same level. If I get an orange, let's assume the orange is perfectly spherical. Of course it's not. But let's assume that the orange is actually a sphere. And let's say I cut it with a blade, right? The shape that it forms, like once if I cut clean through it, and I look at the orange, the orange is now split into two, right? The one piece of the orange is gonna be circular, right? So, and you only form this circle if you cut through the orange with a plane, which means that when you talk about a cycle or moving in a circle, you're always at the same level. So the first thing here is you're talking about this conflict you have with your father. Um, you meet up, maybe you go for holidays or you talk after having spent a long time without talking, and you have a huge fight, right? And then you say things that you really later regret. He says things that he does regret, and then you guys both feel bad, so you make up, and the next time you're buddies again, and then a while after that, again you're fighting. So you're thinking this is a cycle, you know? Um, it's just kind of the same thing. We fight, we make up, we fight, we make up, we fight, we make up. It's the same, it's a cycle. It's on the same level. Same level. But I'm questioning whether it's really on the same level. You see, if you have a fight with your dad today, a certain amount of resentment, right, and kind of a certain amount of pain builds up within you, okay? And then if you fight with your father the next time, right? Every fight, first of all, is different. That's one reason why it's not a cycle. Every fight is different. If I fight with my father today and I fight with him again next week, the fight for next week is not the same as today's fight. In fact, between now and next week, a lot of energy and resentment has built up. So every fight actually what it does is it makes things worse. Every fight reinforces the negativity, reinforces the hatred, reinforces the suffering that is triggered by my father. So you see, you're not staying on the same level. If you do nothing and you keep fighting, every time you fight, things are getting worse and worse and worse and worse. Although locally they might seem like, oh, there's no big difference. It's kind of, this fight is just like last fight. No, it's not. It's deeper. It's deeper. Actually, a friend had pointed this out to me. In fact, he used to refer to it as not as a cycle, but as a spiral. See, a spiral doesn't stay at the same level. You start here, you go around, and then it goes down and down and down, right? A spiral. You start up and then you keep going down. This really is the best description, right? Think about it. The first argument you have with your father, you let's say up, right? You kind of okay, no big deal. The second fight you have with your father, you go down the spiral. You're lower, right? You're at a much lower place. You're at a much darker place. You're going down. The next fight you have with him is at a lower point on the spiral. It just keeps going down and down and down and down and down. If you do nothing, things are getting worse and worse. They're going down and down and down and down. So this is the first thing to realize. And well, okay. So now you're asking how do I get out of this cycle? So this question is inaccurate. The question should rather be how do I get out of this spiral? How do I get out of this spiral of fighting with my father before it reaches a point beyond which at which it just destroys me? How do I get out of that spiral before I reach the very bottom of it? That's really the accurate question. In order for us to know how to get out of the spiral, it is necessary for us to first know how the spiral works. To be free from something, I need to first know the workings of it. If I know the workings of something, now it no longer has a hold over me. But so long as I'm ignorant of it, it has a grasp on me. If I'm in this spiral of fighting with my father every single time, fighting, weekly fighting, this spiral, the only way I'm going to be able to get out of this is to understand how the fights happen, what causes them, that sort of thing. So first we want to observe the spiral. We want to observe the conflict. And then the conflict is going to tell us how we can get out of it, how we can get out of this spiral before it crushes us completely by the time we hit the bottom. So our question then becomes, how does the spiral work? How does the spiral of fighting work? This is not really a spiral of fighting. And I have a friend who's very insightful. And what he had mentioned to me was that this is not the spiral of fighting. Really, what it is the spiral of aggression and fear. Okay? Stay with me here. Aggression and fear. How does it work? Okay? You tell your father, for instance, that you're not going to get married. But your father wants you to get married. Okay? So, he becomes afraid, obviously, right? Isn't he? Right? He's threatened because he wants to continue. He wants to continue living biologically. He wants grandchildren and he wants to know that he will live on even after he's dead. He doesn't want to die. Your father is afraid of fear. He's afraid of death. He's afraid of just not existing after his death. He wants to continue through grandchildren, through you, etc. It's probably one of the reasons why he gave birth to you. If you tell him something like you're not going to have children and he's the kind of person that wants to continue biologically, guess what he's going to do? Now he's afraid. And because he's afraid, what does he do? He defends himself, doesn't he? How does he defend himself? By telling you you're a foolish boy, you're gonna bring shame to the family. You wanna kill us all. Who in the Who in the entire African culture have you ever seen who deliberately chooses to not have children? What will people say about me? All of this is now aggression towards you. He's attacking you. But the reason he's attacking you is because he's afraid, isn't it? And now you're feeling attacked. So what do? Naturally, you're afraid of being attacked. You don't want to be attacked, right? So what do? You do a comeback. You do your own aggression. You never understood me. You just want me to do what you want. You just want me to do what you want. You never thought about what I want. It's my choice. It's my body. I don't want any children. The father feels again more threatened. How dare you say that to me? You disrespectful child. From fear to aggression. You see, that's what I mean. This is fear, aggression, fear, aggression. This is really what the fight is. I'm afraid, therefore I behave aggressively. The other person is afraid, and therefore they behave aggressively. And this thing is not staying at the same level. The fear is intensifying, and the aggression is intensifying. Now we are caught within the spiral. Once you observe this, don't believe me, please pay attention to your own situation. But once you observe this spiral of aggression and fear, now at least you have certain options. For instance, you don't have to play the game. Next time you can notice the fear, you can observe. Let's say the next time your father attacks you, you can observe the fear. He tells you, you must have children, you will not disgrace us. You feel the fear. And with a bit of training in these kinds of things, you can get to the point where you see the fear, but you never let it turn into aggression. You just keep quiet and say nothing, for instance. Now you suddenly have options. I'm not really going into too much detail of how you're going to get out of the spiral. Just observe the spiral itself. Find out if indeed this is the spiral of aggression and fear. Aggression, fear. Aggression leads to fear. Fear leads to aggression. Aggression leads to fear. Observe this spiral. Pay attention to it. And if you really do pay attention to it, it might be after the fact of an argument, a fight with your father, then what you're going to realize is that you're going to develop certain options. You're going to realize that this game of fighting, you see, fighting requires two participants. If one person doesn't fight back, there is no fight. All we have is a beating. The fight requires two participants. And you see, one option is just to not participate in the fight. Right? Let him talk. Just let him talk and don't react to anything. Just let him talk, feel whatever is happening. That might be the solution. Because look, he can't fight and argue forever. It takes too much energy to be aggressive. Eventually the aggression goes down. The only way you can really sustain the fight is if you join him in the fighting. So one option might be to simply not fight. Or maybe an option might be to dialogue with him and show him how, maybe get to the root cause. The root cause of the fear and the aggression. Maybe that might be it. You talk together, you figure out, hey, every time you and I get into an argument is because I don't want to have children. Right? And it looks like you can have a discussion about it. Maybe someone who's open to a discussion. I can't really tell you what to do. Observe your situation. Observe the fights. Find out if the spiral, I'm having fun, man. Find out if the spiral is an actual fact. It's something that you observe. This observation alone will tell you what needs to be done. Now, if you love the ideas that I shared in this video, please don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. Of course, subscribe to it and hit the bell notification. Ding, 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 ding. This will notify you whenever I come up with a new video, because I publish videos every single day that are designed to answer your question and provide you with tools that you can use to deal with the stress in your life. And in particular, every single day I answer a question that you have. So if you have a question that you'd like me to answer, please put it in the comment section. Or if you disagree with what I'm saying, or you have ideas, suggestions, any comment, add it in the comment section below. And if that way I'll know what you're thinking, and I'll be able to make sure that the next video is specifically tailored to meet your needs. And look, if what I've been talking about fascinates you, this whole idea of observing aggression, observing fear, observing this spiral of aggression of fear, observing your way out of the spiral, getting out of this game before the game consumes you. If these are things that interest you, then I do have a tool that you can use. Just go to the description of this video, and I have a link to something called the Observe approach. If you click on that, you'll get free and instant access to a simple but very powerful method that you can use to deal with any stressful situation, obviously by observation. In particular, you can apply it to dealing with this whole issue of observing aggression and getting out of the spiral of aggression and fear. Yep, and I mean, just go to the description. I'll have all sorts of resources. I'm going to link to videos that are connected to what I'm saying in case you want to learn more information. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Bye.